everyone. Welcome one and all to the greatest stream on earth. There are no other streams that are going to be happening tonight. There's nothing else going on that you should be looking at, you should be watching. Bye, Juno. I'm Warren. Welcome. What was that? Why did my voice crack like that? Going through a second adolescence. That's the issue. That's the thing. Going through a second adolescence like Nicole Kidman. It's the Thursday stream. It is the Thursday night stream. Hope you all are having a lovely week so far. It's almost done. Nothing but just top things and wonderful stuff, right? Right. Of course. And my phone's going off because I'm a goof. Because I'm a fucking goof. Oh my God. And I didn't fill my water. I didn't fit everything has been thrown off tonight. Everything is completely thrown off. I'm just like I'm pissed. Everything's thrown off. I decided to order out or order in. Which one do you use? Decided to get takeout. Delivery. There you go. How about that? Decided to get delivery. And the thing here is that it's because I didn't want to cook tonight. And it was snowing. It's been snowing like, pretty steady all day. There's a substantial amount of snow on the ground. So everything, of course, gets, slower and whatnot. It's not as active on this. You don't get around as easily and as quickly as you do while driving your motor vehicle. So the Uber delivery, the Uber Eats delivery takes like easily 1.7 to 5 times longer than it usually does, right? But I was expecting this. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not trying to sit here and say, oh, my Uber driver was late. No. I had a reasonable expectation that they were going to be late. And but they got here quite late. Like, I finished eating like 7 minutes ago. Oh, maybe a little less than 7 minutes ago. Maybe 10 minutes ago. 13 minutes ago. They're like, oh shit, I gotta go stream and I gotta go get everything set up. So I'm completely thrown off. Usually I like everything in its right place, and it's not everything is in its right place. Like, this should be over here. There you go. Like that's where this should be. All right. And then I didn't fill water. I brought the can of Coca-Cola that I got with my order. And then I realized as I'm drinking it, I'm like, shit, I already had a soda today. So I'm going a little overboard here, folks. Not exactly as far as soda goes, I'm going a little overboard. And then on top of that, I'm going to be thirsty as hell. I got nothing. See, you hear that? You hear that? That's an empty bottle. That's an empty bottle. That's what it sounds like. Like, if you wanted to use you were looking for a sound effect of an empty bottle, right? This is what you'd use. That's exactly what it sounds like. So, mild frustrations aside, I'm super duper okay. I'm really okay. And we've, there's some wrestling stuff to talk about. That's always good. I figured that for some reason I thought like the show tonight would be like chock full of like, really deep news to sink my teeth into. And as I was, putting stuff together and researching, I was like, there's really not much. It's not, there isn't much, honestly. Like, yuck. Just like, this is a disappointment. There isn't, like, there's stuff, like there's stuff and there's important stuff, but it's not great. But we got stuff to talk about, I guess. We'll figure something out. And if all else fails, we'll play some Sporkle. I feel like it's been a while since we've played a proper round of Sporkle. And not only do I feel it, I know it. I can feel it in my bones that we haven't played a game of Sporkle in a while. I'm very much looking forward to the weekend. I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to the. I don't know. There's weeks like that, right? You just like everything. There's weeks that everything is going really well, and there's weeks where it's like, oh. But you know what? It's like I didn't. Here's one thing. I'm excited. I'm gonna be. I'm like I say this. I feel like every 3 months or so. But I'm going to be trying some stuff out on the channel. I'm going to be updating some things too. I did an audit of my analytics for the past 3 months, and the thing that is happening on the Mr. Warren Hayes show that is extremely positive is that people who engage with the Mr. Warren Hayes show with videos and whatnot. Engage like for real. They stick around. My watch time is up pretty much everywhere, and by substantial percentages too. We're talking like between, I think it's like 25 to 36%, depending on the videos. And but the thing is that like my impressions and my click-through rates are down, which means that I'm not appearing in other feeds and stuff, right? And then wherever YouTube videos appear when you watch content on YouTube. But the people that are subscribed and who do like who don't rely on the impressions and whatnot, the engagement is very high. So basically, I have a very steady, very loyal viewer base, and that's pretty cool. I think that's awesome. Makes me very proud, because that's kind of always been the target. That's kind of always been the objective is to get a the target is to get what's the word I'm looking for? A community. What was I looking for that? But that's literally what I was looking for. That's the reason why I started doing this in the first place. That was to build a community of like-minded wrestling fans. And I guess this is where we're at. So I'm very excited about it. And I hope y'all stick around for the ride for a long time. So because that would be tremendous, and it would be very meaningful. And you all are awesome and incredible, and I love you all with every fiber of my being. Well, that's a little strange. Let's not get parasocial here, but nonetheless, I do appreciate every one of you. I appreciate you tremendously. Y'all are the backbone of everything I do here. But yeah, let's go say hi to Silver Apocalypse. Nice to see you, man. Welcome to the chat. Also member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Become a member today. It's great to see you, DJ Convoy. Nice to see you as well. And welcome to the chat. Also member of the channel. Ayo, fuck the Game Awards. Hell yeah. I've got them like I'm watching them out of the corner of my eye just because, you know, I'm very excited for the very controversial victories that are going to happen. You know, like they're giving out right now the best esports game, I guess. This is what it's called, the best esports game. I have never heard of Mobile Legends Bang Bang. Like Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, League of Legends, Valorant, and Mobile Legends Bang Bang. All right, and it's Counter-Strike 2 that just won. The best esports athlete. I'm sorry, this is funny as hell. This is really fun. Like the best esports athlete is funny every year because they use the usernames, right? So you've got, it's Chovy, Chovy. Or you had Kakaru, who was also in there. The best sports team. This is Gen G, NRG, Team Falcons, Team Liquid PH. But it is Team Vitality who won the best esports team. Compelling shit. And they're not even like passing out awards. They're not even like inviting these people over. It's just like, it's so funny. I love I hate the Game Awards, but the presentation is always so funny. Anyway, D. Owens, nice to see you and welcome. Happy C2 season to you too. 'Tis the season to be celebrating. My guess is Hollow Knight, Silksong, or Clair Obscur will win Game of the Year. It'll probably be Clair Obscur, right? Expedition 33. That's probably that would be my guess. That would probably be my guess. Sports and Think So's. Nice to see you and welcome. Yes, please do like the stream if you're watching right now. In fact, you are watching right now because, you know, you're there, you're here. So, yeah, please do go right ahead. Hit the like on the stream thing right there. That would be pretty killer if you did so. Who else have we got? Oh, Zach McGibbon. Nice to see you, Gibby. Welcome to the chat, brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope it's not too snowy over there in Ottawa. Did you know there's a Stranger Things spinoff on the way? Completely new show, not associated with the current show. No, I did not, but I am also not surprised, and I will not be watching unless it's revealed to be like, you know, the greatest television show since you know, Gilligan's Island. I might be exaggerating. See, at first I was gonna say Andor, and then my brain went to you know what, I should say like Breaking Bad, but then I'm like try to be funny, and I was like Gilligan's Island. That being said, I really loved Gilligan's Island when I was a kid. Gilligan's Island was my jam. I loved it so much, and I was always fascinated that there were. I was always fascinated because in the early episodes of Gilligan's Island, like the first couple of seasons, right? I'm assuming everyone knows what I'm going to talk about here, right? Okay, you know, I'm assuming here. Hey, King of the North, nice to see you. Welcome. Member for 35 months. Hell yeah, brother. We will not be watching MrWarrenHayes. There you go. Eat shit. Fuck you, Game Awards. Eat shit, Jeff. What was I saying? Yeah, Gilligan's Island. So you know how the intro of Gilligan's Island, well, it's in the song, right? They'd introduce each of the main characters, right? Gilligan, the skipper, to the millionaire and his wife, all that shit, right? And then you get to the movie star, and then you'd still have the Professor and Marianne left. And in later seasons, later on, they added the Professor and Marianne to the entrance theme, to the intro theme. But at first, they didn't name neither the Professor nor Marianne. It'd go, it'd go, fuck, Gilligan the Skipper 2, The Millionaire and His Wife, the movie Star, and all the rest is how it would go. So they do Ginger, and then it's like, oh, and then these schmucks, right? Whereas the professor is a key component to the survival of these schmucks on the island. Like he's a key component because he's putting everything together. He's creating he's creating like aqueducts and fucking running water and transistor radios made out of fucking coconuts and bamboo. Marianne, you're not quite sure what she's doing, but she survived, that she helps out more than Mrs. Powell, that's for sure. Was it Powell Howell? The rich broad, the wasp. She did a lot more than her. But yeah, so that was really interesting. That was really interesting. And when I was a kid, listening to the two on syndication, right? Because they'd mix up the seasons and whatnot. I was so confused by time, by times I was like, why is it at first that they just like, it's so disrespectful. Like I didn't understand. I was like, why just like say, and the rest? Why not just name them? Especially when it comes to the professor. These people would have all died of cholera or dysentery, and it had not been for the professor making sure that they had a semblance of civilization. Because it fucking wasn't going to be Gilligan, all right? And as much as he was, the captain of the boat, it wasn't going to be Skipper either. We often talked about how dopey Gilligan was, but the only reason Skipper wasn't considered to be the dopey one was because he was in direct contrast with a true to form 100% dope in Gilligan. If it wasn't for Gilligan, Skipper would be the dopiest one on that island. Anyway, Jesus Christ. The disrespect that they give the professor. Insane. He was the fucking glue. The movie star and the rest, fuck off. Warren Hayes, Skipper was a dope. Hello, Mrs. Convoy. Nice to see you and welcome. Big Gilligan's Island fan. I have it all broken down. It was Howells. It was the Howells, right? Yeah. Game Awards thought you were talking about TNA. Why not both? Why not both? Oh, best independent game. Absalom, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Silk Song. And they're just giving this award like in the pre-show for the best indie game. Fuck you, Jeff Knightley. Fuck this shit. And it's Expedition 33 that wins, of course, which is fine. But look at this bullshit. Especially when you know that these developers have to pay. Have you seen the articles on how Jeff makes money? Jeff Knightley makes money here because he nominates the studios, but then the studios have to buy a fucking ticket to the fucking event, and the tickets are like something like $1,500 a head, and they're like, I'm an independent studio. How the fuck am I supposed to go there? It's like, how am I supposed to afford to go there, kind of thing. And then they do that, and then the independent game award of the year happens on the fucking pre-show. And these guys just rush in and they take their trophy and they do their little speech, and it's like, all right, hit the bricks. We need to save time for the Muppets. I hate this show so much. I hate this fucking show so much. I didn't remember that. I always hear Professor and Marianne when I hear the song in my head. Yes, because because I think Silver Apocalypse got it, is that they became popular characters a little down the line. Either that, or it's either one of two things. Either became really popular characters and they changed the theme to reflect that, or the actors were like, hey, you know what? It'd be nice if our characters were mentioned. And probably renegotiated that in their contracts or whatever. You know, you're not a bit player. Sure you're not Gilligan, you know, but Jesus Christ. Hey, Kristen, nice to see you, darling. Hello, darling, and welcome. He was still the skipper. He could not pilot a boat just now. He could pilot a boat, just not in a storm. I mean, that's the whole point, isn't it? And some like that. Anyway. Anywho, Kristen also happens to be a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, just in case you're wondering. Yeah. So hey. I want y'all to just take it easy, take a load off. We're about to have a nice little time here. We're about to settle in and we're going to talk about some pro wrestling. We're just going to enjoy things. It's okay to enjoy things. Did you know that? Did you know that it's okay to enjoy things? You should be able to enjoy things. You're entitled to enjoying things. I've been busy. I did a Dynamite review today for AEW Dynamite. It wasn't a review about Dynamite like the explosive, but AEW Dynamite. And AEW Dynamite is the last night was extremely good. It was a terrific, like a legitimately terrific show. Excellent. You all know the main reasons, I'd assume. And if not, well, my review is there for you. Right here on the channel, on your favorite podcast application. It's all there and ready for you. So you can go check that out while I'm not live. Please stick around while I'm still live. Please stick around while I'm still live. Don't go away. Like the stream though. Go right ahead and do that, but don't please don't leave now. That's it. So that's the big thing, of course. And of course, there's the Mr. Warren Hayes show that was released yesterday, which included my my review of Ring of Honor Final Battle. If you were not a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes show channel, then it was your first opportunity to listen to it and to hopefully enjoy it. I thought it was a good show. I think I'm sort of listening to. I've listened to a few people that I enjoy and talked with a few people whose opinion I trust, and I think they might have liked it more than I did, the Final Battle show. Not to say that I hated it, because I didn't. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good show, but I had some people saying, "Oh, it was great, and I'm like, I don't know if it was great. I don't know if it was great, but it was a good show. I enjoyed myself, but as I said in my review. I think, it's going to be a show we're going to forget about very quickly. Like nothing stood out. There's some good stuff on it, but nothing that'll stick with you. I wouldn't think. So yeah, that's essentially it. So that's available, of course, on the podcast. I also clipped it for the channel, and that's what I got. That's what I have lined up. That's what's going on as far as a lot of the little housekeeping elements of the show go. Fuck your mom and nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I thought your Final Battle review was more a referendum on Ring of Honor, and that kind of brought it down. Yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah, sure. Okay. I'll go with that. I hadn't thought about my thoughts in that manner, but But I agree, and I think it's okay. I obviously I stand by everything I said, but it's like the issue that I have with Ring of Honor is, like, essentially is that everything just sort of comes together, and there's no real investment there's no real investment in the brand. There's no real investment in the brand by Tony Khan either. I find it hard for me to care more about a brand than the people running the brand, if that makes sense. So I mean, look, if that ends up like tainting a little bit how I feel about it, sure. I mean that's kind of that. I think it's part of the context. I think it's something that's hard to move away from. Now, at the same time, like, we've had excellent, like truly excellent Ring of Honor pay-per-views under the TK era. So it's not that he can't have them, and it's not like I can't distance myself from it. But there's just some stuff where I'm like, like the case in point, I think, the 1,000-day championship reign from Athena, I think that essentially indicates that, I think it essentially indicates that it's something. Let me say that again. It's something that I don't have any personal investment in because I don't watch the show. I probably would watch the show if it was easier to access. Maybe if the week to week was, excellent and people were going bonkers over it, I'd probably get into it. But I have no investment in this, this legendary 3-year reign where I'm like, okay, it is what it is. And especially in a circumstance where, like I said, when Athena shows up on AEW TV, she loses. She loses to Mercedes. She loses to Tony. She loses to, the Babes of Wrath. I'm like, all right, okie dokie. It's fine. And I think down the line, it's ultimately hurting the brand more than anything else. But anyway, didn't necessarily want to spiel on Ring of Honor, but I appreciate the criticism, Mr. Convoy. Put Ring of Honor on YouTube instead of behind a paywall. I mean, that seems like the logical step, but I kind of feel like Tony Khan doesn't want to do it because it would probably be much more of a struggle to find it would probably be much more of a struggle to find a media deal if this stuff is already on YouTube. I would assume that would be my guess. But you'd think that's what he should do, right? But listen. Wouldn't shock me if Ring of Honor puts their TV weekly on YouTube at some point, although that might be an indictment on their push for a TV deal. Oh, there you go. I mean, that, like, if he ends up putting it on YouTube, I think it means then it's like, oh, well, the TV deal is done, kind of thing. 1,000-day champ should get some wins on the main roster for sure. And it's funny that you called it main roster. And that's another issue that I have with Ring of Honor. That it comes off as developmental. Yeah, I mean, you would assume that Tony Khan bringing his super protected booked champion onto AEW, you would assume that he would give that wrestler the conditions needed to succeed and be a top notch, I guess, on AEW as well, and score a couple of wins instead of looking like a geek. But where we're at. All right. Let's head on over. Let's get this going. And here on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show streams, you know it and I know it. We can only start this off one way and one way only. It's with the patron saint.
How you doing,
who is going to
Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Just let me tell you a little bit about
He's going
myself.
to one of the Disneys.
I'm a nunchuck master.
He's going to one of the
represent
Disneys.
NWA, Mountain State Wrestling. Hoo-yah!
Hoo-yah! Hey Patrick, nice to see you and welcome. Welcome to the chat, also member of the channel. Patrick always pops up when it's time to scream hoo-yah. Let's watch some wrestling, nice to see you too. Welcome, also a member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Hoo-yah, hoo-yah, hoo-yah! All right, I think we're good. Okay, we are good. Thank you so much. He really only told me like one thing about himself. Well, I mean, listen, here's the thing, right? It's like if you were a nunchuck wielder, right? If you were a nunchuck master, what else would you have to tell someone about yourself, right? Look, we saw Jacques with his family the other day on stream, right? When he won the trip to Disney World, right? Disneyland, one of the Disneys, right? Imagine Jacques Moliere meeting that woman, right? Meeting her for the first time. You know, they go on a date. What is the first thing he says? He says, let me tell you something about myself. I'm a nunchuck master. Probably not representing Mountain State, NWA Mountain State Wrestling Hoo-yah anymore. But, you know, and I'm convinced that was enough for this lady to just like fall completely head over heels. Him sitting, you know, at the restaurant, you know, when they sat down, when they went to Chili's to have their first date, and he pulls out his fiberglass nunchucks and he puts them on the table. That's all he's got to say, really. She was completely enamored. Completely and utterly enamored. And then he's got a ton of kids. Think about it. He's got what, like 3 kids, we think, right? 3, 4 kids. How many were there? Look, the point is that Jacques Moliere gets a lot of sex, okay? That's essentially what the point I'm trying to make here. Because of him being a nunchuck master, he has a lot of sex. And he's got the proof. Creating a lot of lore here on the Jacques Moliere front. There we go. All right, well, this is what our docket looks like. It's a little depressing. Honestly, I pull it up and I look at it and I'm like, this is kind of depressing. I gotta be frank with you. I'm not exactly, but you know, like the past couple of days have been really slow news wise. You know, I feel like the stream on Monday was a lot of fun. Thought we had a good, thought we had a good one, right? Anyway, look. Case in point, I can't believe that I'm talking about Matt Hardy again. This guy, this fucking guy, this guy who doesn't care about 5-star matches. The Dodge partnership doesn't get. What? No. Listen, one thing at a time. This guy here, this fucking guy, okay, outright says, I don't care what people on the internet think about what I don't care what people on the internet think a 5-star match is like. All I care about is creating good stories. Who cares about 5-star matches, right? Now, we talked about this on Monday, and I legitimately was like, good, we're done. Never speak on it again. But of course, we're not done, okay? Because 2 of the most terminally online professional wrestlers decided to go after each other. Okay? Oh my God. Dax Harwood thought it was a great idea, right? Because it's Dax, right? Dax thought it was a great idea to jump on the internet and subtweet, which don't get me wrong, I appreciate it. Okay? I appreciate it. But jumping online to subtweet Matt Hardy's comments. This is what he said here. A big shout out to Ian Carey from the Figure 4 Online to reading this article here, okay? This is what Dax said on Twitter. I think in wrestling, the older you get, the more you complain about 5-star matches. What was this guy saying on Monday? Amongst other things. I was saying a lot of things. I also think the older you get, the more you secretly wish you had 5-star matches, whatever a 5-star match even is. Now, when someone suggested Harwood stop listening to Dave Meltzer, Harwood responded, I think calling Dave a moron is insane. He's probably wrestling's most accurate historian. While I may not agree with some of his star ratings, that doesn't mean he's wrong. That means he has a different opinion than I do, which is absolutely okay. To me, Brainbusters versus Howard Foundation SummerSlam 89 is a 5-star tag match. To Dave, it's a 2. Who's wrong? Who's right? Who gives a fuck? As long as we all enjoy wrestling. Now, I have issues with what Dax said here, but I don't, it's like, sure, like everything is subjective. I understand. But it's like everyone automatically just dismisses Dave's these days, right? Everyone dismisses Dave's star ratings, but yet everyone can't stop talking about it, right? Everyone can't stop talking about his star ratings. And sure, like I have no recollection of the Brainbusters versus the Hart Foundation at in 89. Did I say SummerSlam or Survivor Series? SummerSlam probably, right? Or is it Survivor Series? I don't give a fuck. In 89, okay? It's a 5-star tag match. That's good. I'll probably get around to watching it and I'll give you my thoughts. To Dave, it's a 2. Who's wrong? Who's right? As long as we all enjoy wrestling. Well, I mean, I have a bit of an issue with that, because there are matches, and especially these days, there are matches that are absolutely 100% overrated and that people think are good, but aren't. And I think that ends up poisoning the well. The more you say a shitty match is good, and the more people buy into that, then everyone's standards are lowered and wrestling overall becomes bad. So, this thing about let's enjoy all wrestling, it kind of bothers me. It gets to me because that's, I don't want to sound gatekeepery, but this is kind of it. I'm still being kind of gatekeepery. What do you want from me? It's like you should be able to recognize what a good match is versus a bad one. And it's not just because it's a bad thing. It's not just because it's a good thing, right? It's just like a bad or a good thing. It's just like sometimes objectively, sometimes there are matches that are bad. And that just is the thing. And Christ almighty, Kristen Ashley just dropped 5 gifted memberships again, just like she did on Monday. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Santa Kristen once again bringing the joy. Holy smokes. So there's 5 more memberships. Congratulations. Hope you all enjoy it. Thank you, Kristen. That is very, very generous of you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it tremendously. And I'm sure the people who are benefiting from these memberships are enjoying it as well. Toxic positivity is at least on the decline in wrestling. Yes, I will say so. I agree. I would concur with that. That toxic positivity does seem to be a bit on the decline, and thank God. I mean, there's still pockets of it, right? There's still people who like to pretend that. Anyway, it's but you know, like, that's the thing. Like, ultimately, I don't think. I think there is a case to say things are objectively bad. I think there is a case. There are things where you can say this is bad because there are very technical reasons why this is bad, right? And you'd show it to a wrestling coach or a trainer, and they'd be like, "Yeah, no, this sucks because this person did that and couldn't do this." And like, there are these matches that exist, but a lot of these matches, like if I'm thinking about NXT. A lot of these matches in NXT that get tons of praise and that the fans go, woo, and they give it like 8 out of 10s on Cage Match and shit like that. These matches are, you know, a lot of these that are bad and get highly rated are just like, they're objectively bad. And you should be able to recognize the difference between a good match or a bad match. And it shouldn't boil down to, well, you know, this is my team versus your team, and I'm going to stick up for my team, and I'm going to be just like, you know, I'm going to say anything and everything about how great my team is, regardless of the quality, right? And you could argue that that's something that permeates all throughout society in many, many different levels. But, you know, the whole thing is like, as long as we all enjoy wrestling, you know, there was a time where I was like, you know, oh, wrestling is for everyone. And I kind of regret those days because I don't think it is. I don't think wrestling is for everyone. I think there are different types of wrestling, and everyone should be able to find their niche in it, but not apply like their substandard versions of pro wrestling to all of pro wrestling. I think that's when everything falls apart, and the quality falls apart, and the reason why we watch pro wrestling falls apart. Anyway, bit of a sidebar there. And I'm aware that this sounds very gatekeepery, but you know, this is the kind of thing I'd like to have a debate on with someone. So, you know, could bounce back and forth and have a chat about it. That's the kind of thing that it's the kind of discussion that I'd like to have with someone and have some back and forth. For your information, the Muppets are on the Game Awards now, right now. That's what's happening. It's Miss Piggy. That being said, Miss Piggy rules, and I love the Muppets. Don't get me wrong. It's just like, you know, Jeff is out of ideas. Slam Hub Wrestling, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. I think Zack Sabre Jr. versus Shota from the Dome is better than Brainbusters versus the Heart Syndicate. The Heart Syndicate, the Heart Foundation. I think I like that though. The Heart Syndicate. Don't tell Natalia about that name because she'll probably try to copyright it or something. Yeah, I mean, see, like I get, like, I have no recollection of Brainbusters versus Heart Foundation, but I can assume what the match looks like, and I would probably be in agreement with you. You know, I understand your point. Just saw people freaking out today that Lanza had some mild criticism of Dynamite. Joe will never win. I listened to his review while making dinner. No, wait, what making dinner? That's a lie. while, because usually I do listen to podcasts and stuff while I'm making dinner. So that's the reflex. But while I was waiting for the food to get here, I should say, he didn't say anything like, outrageous. It was just like, I wish Kyle Fletcher didn't do NXT face when he loses a match, to a roll up like that, right? Which is an extremely valid criticism. It's extremely valid. It's like, sure, for me, the less NXT face I have in any wrestling organization anywhere, that's the best. See, I had a problem with that with fucking Persephone at I want to say Battle Riot. Jesus Christ, Final Battle. I had a problem with that. So it is an issue in pro wrestling. The stunned face. Why? I agree. Like, Kyle should have been a little angrier. He should have been less stunned, more pissed off. I agree with that. And there was a few other things in the Dynamite, but Jesus Christ, it's Joe. Joe just can't win. Joe can't win. Like, for multiple reasons. Is it how he expresses himself, because he's very passionate. He can come across as aggressive, and personally, it doesn't bother me. I can see how maybe other people are bothered by it, but that's Joe. That's his style. You either like it or you don't. And if you don't like what Joe has to say, well, then that's the thing. Like, just stop paying attention. It's like same thing with Dave. but the thing is that there are so many people who cannot have conversations about pro wrestling, who cannot talk about pro wrestling online without turning around and using other people's bad takes and just mocking them or saying, "Oh, this is bad. Can you believe they said that?" Like, that's not a way to engage in online conversation. That's just, unless these people are expanding and are like, "Well, in my opinion, I believe that." But I don't think they're doing that. I think they're just clipping Joe and, getting mad. And a lot of it's performative too. There are some really toxic AEW fans who call fatwa on anyone who doesn't enjoy the things the way they do. Yes. There's a huge subset of WWE of AEW fans. Oh, you'll see. There's a substantial subset of AEW fans today that are exactly like mid 2010s WWE fans. And if you were around for that period, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where they climb up to the barricades to stick up for their promotion and try to take down anyone who has a contrary opinion, who doesn't like WWE and has things to complain about. Like, there's a lot of AEW fans who are in that period right now with AEW. And it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I guess these things, just like the business of professional wrestling, are cyclical as well. There have been technically bad wrestlers that bring enough to the table elsewhere to make up for it, but it should be discussed in its totality. People forgot how to talk ball, and now they just know how to troll for their team. That's also true. Both of those statements are true, and I agree with, because there are, look, no one will ever in their right mind, no one in their right mind, I don't think, will commend CM Punk for his athleticism throughout his career. CM Punk was a very smart professional wrestler who had some physical gifts and who understood how, to make the most out of doing things in pro wrestling to come across as, to be competent, and more than competent, to be very good at it. But we're never going to, no one should ever call CM Punk a great athlete. He was never a great athlete. You know, it's like when Donald Trump called Triple H an athlete. I was like, ha 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 ha. Funny. You know, but there, you know, and there are some people who, like, I agree that you don't have to have moves, you know, throughout an entire match, an extremely great work rate for a match to be really, really good. Just look at The Rock versus Hogan at the WrestleMania. What the fuck? I can never remember the numbers for the WrestleManias. God bless anyone who does. But that was not like a barn burner. That was not like a match that tore the house down because of its, you know, its spectacular, work. It was because these two guys knew exactly what to do to be able to to get the crowd on their side and maximize their strengths so that this crowd would go nuts. And it's Hulk Hogan and The Rock, who are two one-of-a-kind pro wrestlers. It's like, Jesus, right? That's a unique thing in and about itself. Anywho. Am I in your Peacock account? No, I'm not. I am not. Hey, Fred, nice to see you and welcome. Welcome to the chat, my friend. Have you ever thought that Matt Hardy is just adult? Sure. Yes. That's part of many things here, quite frankly. I hate the if you introduce somebody to wrestling, which match would you show them question. But whenever I get it, I always recommend Rock Hogan as an entry point. I think that's fair. I think that's fair. What are you going to start them off with otherwise? You know? Are you going to start them off with, you know, I'm drawing a complete blank here. But, you know, are you going to pull out some old, you know, Nigel McGuinness, like Matt classic to begin to, you know, to start off to someone who's, you know, who's never watched wrestling and wants to get into it? Yeah, or are you going to show them Mickey James versus Maki Ito? Jesus Christ. You know, that match feels like it happened like 11 years ago, but it was just this year. It was WrestleMania this year. Mysterio Eddie Halloween Havoc 97 is another good choice for something, you know, a little more work ratey. Anyway, let's go back to our topic here. Let's go back here. So we went over what Dax said and my little disagreements and whatnot. Then on Wednesday, Hardy responded to Harwood, believing his comments about 5-star matches were related to Hardy's podcast remarks. I think on wrestling Twitter, if you're going to decide to moan about someone's take, you should at them at DaxFTR. No, and that is absolute garbage. No, you don't. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You do not have to at anyone if you disagree with their take. You can 100% just stealth be a bitch about it, you know, and just like complain to your circle. That's fine. Now, the thing here is that if Matt Hardy is soft-skinned enough to see the comment and go, this is about me, isn't it? And then make a big deal out of it, well, that's his problem. That's his issue. But no one, don't ever at who you're, if you're adding someone, right? If you're adding someone, it's because you want to get into a fight. And sometimes you just want to vent. You just want to say, yeah, this is really dumb. And here's the other thing. Dax was absolutely just like giving his opinion, right? Just outright saying, you know what, in wrestling, I think the more you complain, and that's it. The older you get, the more you complain about 5-star matches. That's all. And he, if he wanted to at Matt Hardy, he could have, but he chose not to. He also probably didn't do it because he didn't want, all the raging fanboys to get really upset. Like, oh, an AEW star versus a TNA star and all this bullshit, Yeah, it's not as if, look, I know Matt Hardy he's had thin skin for a long time, right? I wonder where he gets it from. Anyway. I also think the older I get, I give less than a fuck about what someone on the internet thinks of 5-star matches. And yet, here we are again. Here we are once again chatting about what makes a 5-star match. But Matt Hardy gives less than a fuck about it. But here we are. He's continuing. The matter was put to bed. He had his little podcast with John Alba. He talked about it, which was dopey enough as it is. Dax he gave his thoughts. He's entitled to. He's got a free Twitter account like everyone else is. It's a free country in the United States, as far as I know still. So he just gave his opinion. But yet here we are talking about 5-star matches and how little a fuck Matt Hardy gives about 5-star matches. That's not care. That's the epitome of not caring. That is the Empire State Building of not caring, or whatever the fuck the tallest building in the world is, right? Isn't it in Abu Dhabi? It's like something over there, right? Whatever it is. I know the Empire State Building hasn't been the tallest building in the world in a long, long time. Doesn't matter. Like the first thing you thought was like, oh, wow, okay, that's really tall. That's the first thing you thought about, and that's the most important thing, actually, that you thought about. Fred with the super chat, thank you so much. I appreciate it, my man. Matt Hardy wants to tell you how much he doesn't care about 5-star matches very loudly and repetitively, more importantly. More importantly. Boris, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. What I care about, this is back to Matt and his tweet. And yes, it's a long tweet because he pays Elon. Probably, maybe not. Maybe he's a legacy. Maybe he's a legacy blue check mark, right? He probably doesn't pay for it, but he gets all the benefits of Twitter Blue. What I care about, what our matches are, drawing at the box office, and how they make people feel. I swear to God, you know my theory that I had last week? Not last week, last Monday. You know the theory that I had? That he was told on his way out of AEW that they weren't going to stay, and probably one of the reasons he was told that they were letting him go was because they didn't draw. What's the matter? Epitome. It's the epitome. What's the problem? Address the pronunciation is fine. It's epitome. What's your issue? What is your issue? What is wrong with the pronunciation of epitome? Oh, it's epitome. Okay. That's right. Now I just realized. Okay. Now, I'll be completely frank here. Let's be transparent here. Now I understand. now I get it. This is the French part of my brain sort of sneaking in. It does once in a while, and it sneaks into my English pronunciation once in a while. Because in French, epitome is epitome. That's how you pronounce it. So that legitimately, blame the French side. That's exactly because now I'm like, oh wait, no, it is epitome. It is epitome. Listen, this is a delightful quirk. Okay, this is what this is. It's a delightful quirk. It's something cute that I do. I always blame the French side. Well, as everyone should, even if you don't have a French side, always blame the French. Blame the French for everything. Like Kristen does, exactly. When in doubt, blame the French. And Gibby's Canadian, so he knows exactly how easy that is and how far you can get on that, mostly. How far you can get ahead blaming the French. Legitimately, I apologize because I do know it's epitome, but that's that legitimately was my French side taking over. This is where my brain flipped over to. And bless everyone thinking it was a bit. Maybe I should have just went with that one. Maybe God damn it, I should have just said it was a bit. Whenever I never piss you off. What are you talking about, darling? What's this all about? AW1, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat, member of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel. Mr. Antox, nice to see you too, and welcome. Now see, I'm distracted. Now I don't know what we were talking about. Now I don't know what I was upset about. I was upset about something. Oh yeah, I'm upset about Matt Hardy and talking about box office. See, all this derailed the fucking stream now. Now I think I'm just going to shut it off and I'm going to go watch the Game Awards. Okay. So essentially, I had the theory on Monday that when he was released from AEW, someone must have told him that that one of the reasons he was being released, I'm not saying it's the only reason, but one of the reasons was probably that he didn't draw anymore, because every time he has an opportunity to talk about how much he draws, he talks about it, just like he did with the show, with the match that had the match with the Dudleys, right? Their second retirement match, or the second final match, whatever the fuck they called it. He was proud to say, well, the Hardys still clearly can draw, right? And it was particularly funny when it was revealed later on that the show was mostly papered. I mean, most of us had realized that the show had been heavily papered, and it was not mostly papered, but heavily papered. It was, and it turns out that it was heavily papered. So Matt Hardy didn't even draw as much as he thought he did. So when he comes back around here talking about, how much the Hardy Boys have drawn, how much my matches are drawing at the box office. Hey, you know what I'm ready to say? This is what I'm ready to say. I think Matt Hardy matches have drawn $0 throughout his career. I think a big fat $0 buckaroos, pal. Now, the Hardy Boys, we could have a little argument. I think there are people who probably paid some money at some point to go see the Hardy Boys. Probably in AEW, and stuff like that. And probably definitely, in fact, in TNA, because when they do their meet and greets, they have these huge lineups and whatnot. So but Matt Hardy, a draw. Let's be real here. Don't make me laugh. I enjoy FTR's work ethic and talent. I also think AEW emphasizes. See, he can't. No one's pointing out Matt Hardy, that he can't even spell emphasis or emphasizes. He spells emphases, but no one's going after Matt Hardy. We'll go after Warren Hayes though, who speaks two languages, and sometimes they sort of crisscross over the words that are identical in English and French. Well, we'll go after Warren Hayes though, but we won't go after Matt Hardy, who can't spell worth a fuck. I enjoy FTR's work ethic and talent. I also think AEW emphasizes matches more than story, character, emotional investment, and it makes it challenging to grow your audience from a niche core, which is my opinion. Now, I'm not bitter. Now, if you wanted more solid, concrete proof that Matt Hardy does not watch AEW, you have it right here. You have it absolutely 100% right here. Story, character, and emotional investment. There are stories everywhere from top to bottom in AEW, to the point that it is a detriment, I find, sometimes to the company. Sometimes I just want Tony Khan to go back a few years to where he was in his brain space a few years ago, where he'd just come out of nowhere and book a cool match and have the cool match happen, and everyone would go home, hit the pay window, and go to In-N-Out Burger or whatever the fuck. Now it's now you can't even sneeze without your sneeze particles landing on a story in AEW. There's stories everywhere. Nothing on the show ever happens without there being a setup. Even fucking Mercedes Moné on fucking Collision had to have a setup with Layla Gray for a match with Layla Gray. They created a story. They created a setup for that match for Mercedes Moné versus Layla Gray. In any universe, this match doesn't have any build because no one cares, because Mercedes comes in and destroys her and moves on. Stories everywhere in AEW. Nothing happens on TV without something justifying why the thing that's happening is happening. So Matt Hardy just doesn't watch the product because he's probably upset, which is fine. I don't have, it's better off him not watching than hate watching. That's a good thing. But on the opposite side, he's sitting there saying that AEW doesn't do stories, characters, or emotional, or he says that they emphasize matches more than, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. I don't think they emphasize matches more. Not anymore. Not anymore. I think maybe there was a time, but not anymore. Matt is just following the grifter byline here at this point. Well, not the byline, just the line, the headline, the grifter headline at this point. I want AEW to succeed. It's good for the industry. I love and enjoy great matches that get me emotionally invested. I don't secretly wish I had 5-star matches. If you say so, buddy, whatever a 5-star match even is. Again, what is the point of this argument? What is he himself is making all of these huge points. He's making sure to break down his thought process, whatever a 5-star match is. And what are we arguing about if you can't put it into words? If ultimately you want to say everyone is entitled to what a 5-star match is, so then why the fuck are you complaining? What are you even complaining about if by definition what you're saying is I don't even know what a 5-star match is and I don't care because everyone has a different interpretation of what a 5-star match is. So what is he upset about? Do you see how fucking stupid this is? Like, this response that he gave Dax ultimately has made Matt Hardy look even more stupid than he did when he released when he talked on his podcast about it. Because he's trying to, I prefer this 5-star matches. I prefer stories over 5-star matches. I don't secretly wish I had 5-star matches, whatever a 5-star match is. Then what's the point? What is the point? You can't even define what it is. So move along, pal. And he says it right here. Who's wrong? Who's right? Who gives a fuck? As long as we all enjoy wrestling. Aping Dax, echoing what he's saying. But again, just like throwing water on his own theory, on his own argument. Putting it out all by himself. He is both the arsonist and the firefighter. It's such a stupid thing to say. So either you take a stand and you say, the 5-star matches, all they are, these high profile, work rate, New Japan, Tokyo Dome shit. Like, you can bring out all those arguments, but no one ever does. Ultimately, what they want to say is they're just mad at Dave again. And they'll say Dave is not relevant. Like, this is a backhanded way of saying Dave is not relevant because they're not complaining about Warren Hayes' 5-star matches. That's not what they're bitching about. They don't care about me. They care about Dave. But then they'll tell you in the same breath, Dave Meltzer is old and doesn't matter. But then they'll keep talking about the 5-star matches and the 5-star ratings and the 5 stars in the Tokyo Dome and all that shit, right? Harwood then responded to Hardy. Matt, I have no idea what you're talking about, why you think this is about you, or why you're so upset with me. I only ever had good things to say about you and your brother and what you've meant to tag team wrestling. I thought until today, we always had a great relationship. I mean, let's be real, Dax. Dax is being a little disingenuous here. Okay? This is Dax going, I don't know. I don't know why you thought I was talking about you. Me talking about 5-star matches in this, and why people think they're dumb. Right in the window of time where you just spoke about it on your podcast. I don't know why you think this is about you. I didn't mention you by name. Wow, I thought we were cool, Matt. I mean, it's like. It's so frustratingly, like, it's dumb. Like, to be completely honest, in this little exchange here, there are no heroes. There are no winners. There are no heroes. There's just two dopey wrestlers being dopey on the internet. That's essentially what it is. But Matt Hardy is the dopiest of the two. Like, if we're going to grade, if we're going to grade on a level of dopiness, I think Matt Hardy is a 5-star dope here. I think that's his lot here. And Dax is maybe like I think, I think this opening statement here, where he says, I don't know what you're talking about, why you think this is about you. That's a 1/2-star extra right there. That's a 3 3/4 star dope right there. Probably was a 3-star dope, but went up to 3 3/4 because of that comment there. You're like, Dax, what are we doing? It's so incredibly frustrating when it's so incredibly frustrating because, like I said on Monday, this separation of church and state between stories and 5-star matches is absolutely preposterous, and it's really like it's idiot brained to think that you cannot, like, you have to choose. It's either a 5-star match or a storytelling match. when you can easily make the argument that some of the greatest 5-star matches out there also had an incredibly compelling story or emotional investment, right? As if you can't have great in-ring storytelling on top of that to create that emotional investment. Just look at what Fletcher and Speedball did on Dynamite last night. That's a match that these guys created a connection with the audience strictly through the match, because they didn't have like this simmering rivalry where, I don't know, Speedball stole, Kyle Fletcher's dopey glasses, and Kyle's been trying to get them back, and this has been going on for months, kind of thing. It's like, none of that. It's just two guys in the ring creating the story in the ring and getting people into. You don't think that the people in not Atlanta weren't invested in that match? They were so incredibly involved and into the match because these two guys were telling a tremendous in-ring story. Plus, on top of that, incredible athleticism and great moves. It's the best of both worlds, and that's usually what a 5-star match is. But Matt Hardy, like I said on Monday, and like Dax insinuated here, is just like some too old, seeing the up and coming crop of talent, just being naturally more gifted and better, faster, stronger than them, and them just throwing out a gauntlet to try and preserve their relevancy in a business that is slowly aging them out, and feel like they have to create this distinction between the two, if only to save their ass. Look, Bubba Ray Dudley has been doing this for years. Bubba Ray has always been a sub-average wrestler. But somehow he has tricked everyone into believing that he's this creative genius, that he's this incredible emotional storyteller that just exudes presence, charisma, and is able to make people fawn over his work. But he's one of these wrestlers that he likes to talk about it so much that eventually it becomes the truth. But Bubba Ray Dudley has never been a great pro wrestler. He's never been even a good pro wrestler. He never has been. He knows this deep inside, but he used other attributes to succeed. Like being overtly racist to people in promos and sexist. That's a great way to get heat. Anyway. And falling into tables. Let's not forget that. If only they had each other's numbers to hash this out, but workers got to work. Yeah, pretty much. Like it's not like you and me arguing with a pro wrestler on Twitter. Like, these guys are colleagues. What are we doing here? Brett would have just said he thought Matt is a hack that could never wrestle and only succeeded because he could fall from heights and got cheated on. What a great thought. That is something Bret Hart would say. Dax would be a 5-star dope in the dome. That is true. If you think the food quality is the most important thing in a restaurant, wouldn't you still want to have 5-star ambiance if you could? And service and all of that. It's dumb. It's just dumb. It's infinitely dumb to think that the only way to create investment in the match is to not have moves. And it's only wrestlers past their prime who never had a 5-star match, who could never have a 5-star match to save their lives, who have these opinions. You know, like, think about any sport. Like, think about any professional sport, okay? Especially one, let's say like hockey, okay? Like ice hockey. The hockey that's played on ice. Like, this is a sport that evolved, like, took a huge leap in the 90s. Like, an extremely high leap where, you know, the guys who would come in to play hockey were literally like 18 years old. They were young, they were strong, and then they started skating real fucking fast, right? They started skating fast and, you know, running into each other real fast, you know, crashing into each other real fast. And it just became an extremely speedy and dangerous game. More so than back in the day, as far as, you know, speed and execution goes. I never heard any old guys look at the young guys coming up, let's say in hockey or in any sport, at the, you know, going, oh, well, the kids today, you know, they run too fast, they skate too fast. Like, no, like it's just like the kids are younger, they're better. Everything surrounding their training, their diets, their, you know, sports medicine, everything is so much better now that these guys can have these explosive careers like, you know, guys in the 70s could never dream of. They're not like going around and shitting on the sport and shitting on the kids coming out today. It's so weird. Pro wrestling is so weird for that. But I guess, look, I'm not in a position where I'm fearing that, you know, my entire life's work might end up being forgotten or not disrespected, but discounted because, you know, everyone's moving on to the next thing. But that's also the essence of pro wrestling. Like, there's a reason Matt Hardy is not main eventing shows anymore. There's a reason why we're focusing on younger guys to do it as well. I don't know. Maggie O'Cannon, nice to see you and welcome. Basketball and football players in America do that all the time. Talk about how soft the modern game is. They talk about how soft the modern game is. Oh, yeah? Because in hockey, no one says that because it's the opposite. It's like, I mean, look, the guys used to play without helmets and with minimal padding back in the day, right? But they didn't skate like at 50 kilometers an hour either. Anyway, I hope I get into a situation where I don't have to talk about this again because it is so exhausting and frustrating and I hate it. I really do hate it. Did you all hear John Cena's retirement is this weekend? Did you know about this? It's happening on a Saturday night's main event. It's happening in Washington, D.C. Everyone is waiting for with bated breath to find out if the president of the United States of America is going to show up. That's a big deal. That's a big thing. Jermaine Presley, nice to see you and welcome to the chat. And his match is opening the show. Listen, everyone's contradicting each other. And it's such a I don't give a shit kind of moment. I don't care. I don't care. In fact, you know what? It's probably smarter if they do it, if they open with it, because they'll have the maximum amount of time. let's. This is why I think they should start it. They should start off Saturday night's main event with John Cena's match versus Gunther. Okay. Because then after, if they want to stay in their timings, I know they're not on NBC and they're not going to cut it off like they did with Goldberg. But if they start off and let's say John Cena takes a little more time in the ring, you know, they can take their time with John Cena saying goodbye to World Wrestling Entertainment, the company that made him, the company that he carried on his shoulders for years throughout some of the most miserable years of the company's existence. He carried them on on his shoulders, and he's, you know, arguably one of the biggest stars the business has ever made. Give him all the time you want and then cut the time out of every other match you have on the fucking card. Who cares? Who cares? You know, you go up to Cody and Obafemi and you say, well, boys, you got to wrap it up in 7 minutes instead of 14 because John went a little long. And what are they going to do? You think Cody's is he going to get mad that John Cena on his last night went a little long? They're going to go to Sol Ruka, and who the fuck is she fighting? She's fighting, who is she fighting? Vaquer? Is she fighting Vaquer? I don't remember. But you go up to them and they're like, well, listen, we got to cut 5 minutes out of your match. Because no one cares about the rest of this fucking card. Who gives a shit? Bailey. Yeah, Bailey's knees will be thankful. Bailey's knees will say, oh God, thank you for shaving 3 minutes off my match. Like, who fucking cares? Now, I know they're on Peacock, so like network logic doesn't necessarily apply where you're like, you know, like I keep telling you guys on the Dynamite review, like it doesn't matter who's in the main event of the show. What matters is who's on the first hour, who's in the quarter hours on the first hour of Dynamite, and who's on the first hour of the second hour of Dynamite, on the first quarter hour of the second hour of Dynamite. I got it right. Like, that's what matters. Now I know we're on Peacock, and that doesn't matter, right? They could do it anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that just start off with it. Let people get in their feelings and do whatever they need to do. Everything else on this card is secondary. Start off the show with the retirement while people are super hot. They'll be into it. They haven't seen a match before that or anything to sort of drain the energy. They'll be into it. Send him off. Have him take as much time as he wants. Let him go home. Let them shave time off of every other match. Who gives a fuck? It's John Cena's last match. It's John Cena's last match. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. And then here's the other reason why they might start off with it. If the president is there, well, they're going to have to finish early because he's going to have to get to bed. Because Sleepy Don is going to need his nappers. He can't stay up past 9:30 anymore. And I will 100% bet with you that if they are working with the White House to get Don into the room, to get Sleepy Don into the room, that's going to be one of their requests. It can't go on too late. President of the United States is a very busy man, and he can't. He needs just to go to bed because Sleepy Don is so sleepy. Or the funniest outcome would be that he stays the entire match, but then he starts falling asleep during Bailey and Sol Ruka, because he doesn't give a shit about Bailey and Sol Ruka. And then you get, camera footage from people in the audience uploading it to the internet. Like, look, the Sleepy Don is having a nap during Sol Ruka and Bailey. During Obafemi and Cody Rhodes. He was awake for Cody's pyrotechnics. That woke him up. Like, blam, 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 blam. Say, yeah, America. Then, imagine Trump dozing off during the Cena match. That'd be even worse. But also funny. AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Leon Slater and Javon Evans. Is that a match that's happening? That actually sounds cool. Because I have no idea what's going on this card outside of Cody and Obafemi, because people seem to think that Obafemi is ready for the main roster. Aside from that, like I don't know. But AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Leon Slater and Javon Evans. That actually sounds cool. They took Slater off of WXW to do a 10-minute tag in front of President Trump. I mean, he knew what he was getting into when he signed, right? That should have been Carmelo Hayes, the wrestler who needed the rub the most. I guess. I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't. I don't know. This has no incidence on me. This should have been John Cena's last opponent should have been an opponent that had historical significance. Not unlike Okada and Tanahashi. That's happening. This means I don't know. This means I don't know. It means nothing. I don't care. I honestly don't care. And look, to all the people saying, oh, this person deserved it because this person needed the rub, this person needed the rub. Here's the reality. Is the person that had to face John Cena was someone that WWE believes in, and that would be ready to push in whatever shape or form. They don't believe in Carmelo Hayes. They've never got behind Carmelo Hayes. Gunter is indeed a pro wrestler that they have gotten behind. They've 100% thrown their support behind Gunter. That's fairly evident. But Carmelo Hayes, he's an afterthought. Why would it be him? If they give him the match, they don't do jack with him after. That's the thing, is like people, people having these arguments are always with these guys that WWE is throwing zero support behind. So, why would they give them the final match? Why would they give them the Cena match if that person after is not going to have the support of the team? And, in WWE specifically, I'm not talking about pro wrestling, but in WWE, this idea of a rub doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist because because it is a corporate boardroom creative decision to push this person or that person or this person or that person. It has nothing to do with, with crowd participation or their love or dislike of a guy or a girl. It's really not that. It's all, we've talked about it before. It's boardroom creative. It's the guys at the top who decide, and then they push that person. And it has been that for years, folks. This is not new. It's not even a Triple H trait. It's what Vince has always done. And like I say, where did Triple H learn to book? Well, by watching Vince. So of course he's following Vince's formula to get to where we go, to where he wants to go with the person or people that he wants to push. But they don't see a future in Carmelo Hayes. They see a future in Braun Breaker because of the opponents that they've been feeding him, because he's going to be fighting CM Punk and whatnot. They see a future for Braun Breaker. That could have been a really cool opponent. Carmelo Hayes. That's kind of ridiculous. If Trump sleeps during the Cody match, does he have an American nightmare? Heyo. Do you think he's ready for the main roster, Warren? We're talking about Obafemi. I haven't seen Obafemi wrestle in a while. From what I understand, the match he just had with Ricky Saints at the NXT event was pretty good. So maybe he's improving, maybe he's getting better, but I don't know. I'm really not that big of a. I don't watch WWE anymore, so I haven't seen him wrestle in a while. But this is clearly a guy. Oh, Roman Reigns is on the. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are at the Game Awards because they're doing the thing here. Andrew Schultz is in the Street Fighter movie. All right, I hate it now. They have all the stars. They have all the stars of Street Fighter coming out. Is Hiroki Goto going to be there? Jason Momoa's there. Jason Momoa standing next to Roman Reigns is going to be funny as hell. They didn't fly in Hiroki Goto. What a bunch of bitches. Please have Jason Momoa stand next to Roman Reigns. He's so much taller than Roman Reigns. Oh my God. Jason Momoa is like a full head over most guys there. That's actually tremendous. Why'd they put Andrew Schultz in this movie? What every I hadn't heard that. Everything was going so well. Andrew Schultz is incredibly not funny. I have it on mute. Momoa's talking. He's saying something. I don't know what he's talking about. And he is severely underdressed, and I loved it. And he has a beret on. I love it. Now Andrew Schultz is talking. Is that it? I don't know. No, probably not. Anyway, sorry. Got distracted. Roman and Cody in the same shot. Oh, are they going to do an angle? Because they're feuding right now, right? They're feuding going back to WrestleMania, right? Are they going to do an angle? I think they're trading barbs. I don't know. I have it on, but maybe not. Andrew Schultz standing next to Orville Peck is really fucking funny, though. That, I think, is incredibly funny. Anyway. Sorry about that. It's wrestling adjacent, right? But Jeff didn't even. Why is Andrew Schultz talking so much? I hate this guy. I think he's so criminally unfunny. Why is he even here? But look, you know, a big L here for Jeff to have not flown in Hiroki Goto for this. Big fucking L. Huge L. Does the G stand for Game Awards? No, it doesn't actually. It actually does not. The Sting, Tanahashi, and Cena retirement tours are shocking in its contrast. In my opinion, I think only out of those three, I think only Sting's retirement tour truly was the best. I don't even think Hiroshi Tanahashi's retirement tour was all that great. I think they overdid it. I think they gave too much Tanahashi. You know, and in a lot of circumstances, it didn't deliver. And I think there were diminishing returns, but people are still excited to go to the final match, and that's all that matters. But I think I don't think Tanahashi's retirement tour was all that great. I don't think it was as bad as Cena's. I think Cena's was awful. Gunther represents the youngest supported made talent WWE has. Yeah, pretty much. This is true. Like I said, the thing is that Gunther has the support. He's going to be pushed. That's why they're going with that. I call him Ricky Staines. That's a shame, but also very funny. The Street Fighter movie is going to be somehow a bigger train wreck than Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li. God, that movie was bad. That was really bad. Kaiji Muto had a better retirement tour than Tanahashi. Yeah, pretty much. I think so. He had bigger matches. I think, look, he drew more money up till now. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom is going to be the most successful. Is going to be the most successful. What's the word I'm looking for? It's going to be the most successful gate in the long-standing history of New Japan. Why am I struggling with words all of a sudden? I don't know. We'll have to see. Because it's, as it stands, if I'm not mistaken, the Tokyo Dome is full, right? They packed it up. It's a packed house now, right? It's sold out, if I remember correctly. So what does he do after he beats Cena? Well, he goes after Cody Rhodes, who will still be the Universal Undisputed Champion. Whatever. I don't care. That's the things, like, what does Gunther do after? I don't care. I don't watch the product and it, you know, stupid. But the Gunther has the support. Gunther is clearly a guy. He's clearly a guy. And he's been built as a guy for a long time. Right up until Austin Theory returns. Anyway, Cena was on his. So, look, I don't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We were talking about the. Is Cena going on first, or, you know, who's on second? What's on first? And. Yeah, and basically my point is, like, I don't care. I don't care. In fact, I think he should go on first because it would be better. Now, that being said, He's been on a media tour. Old John Boy has, right? He's done a bunch of podcasts. He's done Bill Simmons. He's done Chris Van Vliet. I don't think he's done Ariel, right? I don't think he did Helwani. Did he do Helwani? I don't think so, which is a little surprising, a little shocking. I wonder if it's a little blowback. I wonder if it's Ariel getting a little blowback for having Tony Khan on. You never know with these people, right? John has, he's been talking about a lot of preposterous stuff. It's been basically saying, this is what he said here. In an interview on WWE's YouTube channel with Tom Rinaldi, Cena said he had originally planned to work 200 dates in 2025, including house shows, just to say goodbye to everybody. Press X to doubt. In fact, mash X to doubt. I wanted to try and go everywhere from Perth, Australia to Mids Hudson Civic Center, you name it. I wanted to go everywhere. I've been to just say thank you to everybody. And the WWE came back and said, nah, we only need 36 dates. I don't believe that he wanted to work 200 dates. I'm not that gullible. I came to them with pitch decks and specs, and this is what I think the projected revenues are. Not just talking WWE story out of my butt, he said. Like, hey, I think this is a good business plan. And they said, that's not our business. Is this how it works? They hire the talent and the talent has to come with their pitch? Is this how it works? There was no fucking way John Cena was like, yeah, I want to work 200 wrestling dates now that I am a movie star. Now that I am, a central figure in the resurrection of the DC universe with under James Gunn. Yes, please make me work all of these dates. Come on now. What are we doing? Right? What the fuck is this kind of response? I don't believe this for a second. I don't believe John Cena wanted to work 200 dates. He did respond to criticism regarding on how his his retirement tour was booked, though. Sitting down on Insight with Chris Van Vliet. We're reading this off of WrestleZone. Sitting down on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, Cena addressed this criticism surrounding his retirement tour booking. It's part of what we do. That is absolutely a part of what we do, he said. I love it because it's vocal and it starts a conversation. That's the thing. I've been part of this live criticism pit since WrestleMania, Triple H, or fighting Kurt Angle. That's what people don't understand. I am criticized all the time. Unlike most other pro wrestlers, Cena has vowed to make his in-ring retirement a permanent thing. With that finality in mind, Cena understands that some fans might be upset at this point in time, while others plan to enjoy what will be his last time wrestling. As he points out, though, there seems to be a universal thread of interest. There at least seems to be a universal thread of interest. I think I would say everyone internally is happy. I would say everyone externally has an opinion about it, which is good. Here we are in early December, looking forward to the 13th. I don't think there is apathy out there. I know some people are critical of it. Some people may be upset. Some people may be overjoyed, but there isn't apathy. And I think that means we did okay. Look, this idea that John Cena will never ever wrestle ever again, that will be the case until the government of Saudi Arabia ponies up the money, right? Until WWE's eventual owners cough up the cash to say, hey, pal, you are coming to work for us one more time. And I feel pretty confident in that. Because this is the same guy who just told us that his retirement is definitive and non-negotiable. This is the same guy who told us that he was, wanted to wrestle 200 dates this year. Sure. Out of curiosity. Just out of curiosity. When's the last time John Cena worked 200 matches in a year? There is only 1 year that John Cena has worked 200 matches, and that was in 2011. Brother has never worked 200 matches in a year. So what are we talking about? Wanted to work 200 matches this year. You've done it once. You've done it once in your career. What are we pretending here? That's funny. That's funny as hell. And he's been saying some goofy shit too, like how CM Punk going to Saudi Arabia was awesome and that it made him cry. Again, from Chris Van Vliet. Gosh, one of the moments in sports entertainment that's larger than sports entertainment. Oh, motherfucker. Can you believe it? Is Phil Brooks going to Saudi Arabia. That shit made me cry. Like, awesome, Cena said. Accountability, vulnerability, apology, forgiveness, cultures melding into each other. And then he comes out and does my gimmick. Like, how do you follow what I did? He came up with this crazy idea. I'm like, dude, you don't have to do that. And he crushed it. He absolutely crushed it. Now, there's a lot in this one quote here. There's a lot in this one little quote here. First of all, look at how much of a fucking shill he is. Like, this is shill behavior. Accountability, vulnerability, apology, forgiveness. None of those 4 words are ever spoken within the same sentence as CM Punk, unless in that sentence there is also the words did not or isn't. Or has no. None of those words ever are associated with CM Punk. Vulnerability? Phil Brooks? Come on, John, go kick rocks. You think we're really that fucking dumb? What are we doing here? Phil Brooks was asked to apologize by the future owners of WWE, and he apologized to what is quite likely a plant in the audience. Very likely a plant. What are we doing here? Accountability. There's no accountability. What's the accountability? He said, sometimes you get a little angry on Twitter and you say shit. Of course, we're talking about the the blood covered dick thing that he tweeted to the Miz. That's what we're talking about here. Oh, that's what he said when he went there. Oh, sometimes you get a little heated on Twitter. Accountability. This is a man who's supposed to be like punk rock, who's supposed to be anti-establishment. He's become everything he raged against. There's no accountability. There's no humility. It's CM Punk. And then cultures melding into each other. Jesus Christ, brother. Cultures melding into each other. It's as if these people are like thinking that they're creating world peace here. It's a fucking wrestling show paid for by, the richest fucking government on earth and they're rich for, reasons that people really don't like to entertain. The Astral Panda, nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Like this is preposterous, right? He's towing the line of WWE, we've promoted change since we started doing this and all that, all of this stuff. Now, the second thing in this quote here that the next thing I'd like to point out here is that he's flat out saying, he's telling Chris Van Vliet, yeah, the shitty Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick? Yeah, Phil came up with that. He's not crediting anyone else than Phil. Like, how do you follow what I did? He came up with this crazy idea, and I'm like, dude, you have to do that. And he crushed it. He didn't crush it. That was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for everyone. It was embarrassing for Phil. It was embarrassing for John. It was embarrassing for everyone who watched it. But Cena knows what he has to say here. Like, there's no way that this guy who works in Hollywood now looked at this, at Phil Brooks, dressed up as Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena, and cut that god-awful rhyme and said to himself, masterful, bravo. No fucking way. There was no crushing here. The only thing that was crushed was my spirits when I saw that. When asked about his favorite moment of his entire career, Cena pointed to everything surrounding the Punk match in Arabia because of how meaningful that was. What a geek. Are you fucking kidding me? That? Good for him for thinking on his feet. He just was not prepared. He wasn't ready. Called Punk his wrestling soulmate. These guys hated each other. Why are they all suddenly making up? Punk hated Triple H. Cena hated Punk. Cena hated Triple H. Triple H hated everyone. They all hate each other. Now they're all, we're all great. It's so great now. Everyone's great. And then on top of that, wasn't there a quote out there that John Cena said that there was a quote out there. I think it was on the Chris Van Vliet interview, right? I don't think I put it on the docket. Shit. No, I did not. There's one where he says that when he's pressed about the heel turn, right? He's like, nobody cares. Who cares about the heel turn? No, a lot of people did care. A lot of people did care because a lot of people wanted John Cena's last year to be great because they're fans and whatnot. And it turns out it was kind of trash. It was actually a lot trash. I think the quote was something along those lines where it was like, we had to do something, so we decided to just do this. Again, proving that they're doing Vince Russo style booking, where they're just like, let's do shit. They're, which completely explains why there wasn't any like legitimate plans after the heel turn, where it all fell apart. It all fell apart after because Cena was being John Cena. It all fell apart because they didn't have any plans, because Triple H is the absolute dirt worst booker ever and has no plans. They just wanted to do the turn and then, not quite sure what to do next. Anyway, I don't even know why, I'm pointing these out. I don't even know why I'm talking about it, because I'll be honest, I kind of feel like I'm obligated to talk about John Cena. And as I've mentioned on previous iterations of whatever the fuck I do here, I don't have emotional investment in John Cena, his career, right? In what he has done in pro wrestling. I'm not a kid who grew up watching John Cena, I'm a guy who saw him come into the business, was entertained by the Doctor of Thugonomics stuff, but I was part of the crew who would hold up signs saying, if Cena wins, we riot, type of thing. That was my vibe. I always thought John Cena was just was handpicked. He was the company's champion, and I didn't see much value in him. As far as a pro wrestler, as far as what I wanted to see, now I can understand that he had value as a star. Not dumb, but I'm not into his matches. Like, there's some people who are able to remember all of these matches that he had, and I don't. Like, I think the only match that I remember really of his is the Bray Wyatt match, where the crowd had 100% turned on him. The one where they were singing Bray's song and were swaying in the audience and all that, and yet they still decided to have Cena go over, which was ridiculous, right? John Cena was one of the reasons I actively disliked WWE. So, I have no attachment to this guy. So his retirement on Saturday is, despite the fact it being significant, like objectively, just from a purely objective point of view, this is it's a significant retirement because he is one of the biggest wrestling stars of all time. And I don't even think that's up for discussion. You can dislike John Cena all you want, but people know who he is. Non-wrestling fans know who he is. Roman Reigns, people don't know who that is. They don't know who Roman Reigns is. But John Cena, they do. They absolutely know who that guy is. He's transcended. He's a big star. He's one of the biggest wrestling stars of all time. He's a legitimate draw. He's got a huge fan base. He's carried the company on his shoulders. He is a legit, he's a legit Hall of Famer. Now, his match on Saturday is truly the end of an era. Like, it truly is closing up one of the biggest careers ever. And objectively, that is worthy of interest, right? But I'm not going to go, on Blue Sky and post, oh, got tears in my eyes, you know, because there's going to be tons of people who are going to do the, oh, got a little sniffle here, sniff, you know, it's like, you know, or, you know, hashtag thank you Cena or whatever, you know, all that shit. That means nothing to me. John Cena doesn't have that type of attention, connection with me. He just doesn't. Now, will I watch the match? Yes. Am I going to watch it live? I don't know. I'm not going to plan around it. If I can watch it, I will. But I'm definitely not popping on Peacock for, you know, 2 hours to watch fucking the rest of that card. You know, Cody and Obafemi and Sol Ruka and Bailey. I'm not watching all of that. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I'll probably watch it the next day and it'll be fine. It'll be, you know, just having seen the match. And I think it's part of the zeitgeist, of the wrestling zeitgeist over the next couple of days. I think everyone who's a wrestling fan should probably watch it. Well, you know, because it's John Cena ending his fucking career. It's a big deal. I think everyone should be watching it. That's just me. But again, I got nothing. Otherwise, it's just like, I got nothing for you. It's just he's going to be retiring, and it's devoid of any emotional meaning for me. Meaning as a wrestling fan, as a wrestling, I don't know, pundit. Yeah, I can wrap my head around it and I can find value in it, but not personally. Not for me anyway. Of course, don't expect you to espouse my values. Your mileage will vary. DGMC, nice to see you and welcome. Also a member of the channel. I woke up from a nap to say that WWE has been Cena washing for 20 years now, and there's still drool on my pillow. Thank you for that. I dipped out of wrestling when WCW went under and came back to watch primarily indie stuff in 14-15. I missed almost all of Cena and of Punk's pre-AEW run. So you're probably not someone who's particularly touched by the ending of John Cena's career either. You know, there could be a day that the Saudi money could all go away. They could go into bowling tomorrow or fall out of favor. You know, I don't know. I don't understand that level of economics. It's just beyond me. All of this money, like that's too much money. I don't understand it. I mean, people do know who Roman Reigns is, even though he's never going to be bigger than Cena. No, I disagree. I don't think most people know who John Cena is. If you go to, let's say you go, not John Cena, Roman Reigns. I sincerely disagree with that. If you go to a little league game, let's say, or a soccer game, let's say you go to a Saturday morning soccer game, you know, where it's just little kids playing, and you go up to the soccer moms there and you show them a picture of Roman Reigns and they go, Jason Momoa? And you show them a picture of John Cena and they go, oh, that's John Cena. We as wrestling fans in the bubble, we all know who Roman Reigns is. Roman Reigns is not a transcendent wrestling star. He's not mainstream in the slightest. And you can trick yourselves into believing that, but he truly is not. Like my 80+ year old mother knows who John Cena is. Right? But the other day I was I was watching some stuff on my phone, sitting next to her. And she was like, "What are you watching?" And I show her, and it was something about it was a video about Roman Reigns, and I showed it to her, and she was like, "Who's that guy?" Now, if he was as big a star as we think he is, my mom would have known. Oh, that's Roman Reigns. But I show her a picture of John Cena, and she says, "Oh yeah, I know who that guy is. That's John Cena." She also thinks he's Irish because he wears a lot of green. But, you know, that's my mom. The only future star Mr. Warren Hayes is interested in is Aaron Wolf. We'll see about that. We'll see about that in 3 weeks? We'll see how interesting Aaron Wolf is. We're about to find out. If anything, right now I'm more I'm intrigued more than interested. Most people don't know who Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns are. People in the wrestling bubble always have a problem realizing that. Nobody knows who Becky Lynch is. I'm sorry to say. We're deep in it. You are here right now listening to me. That means you are a nerd. You are a wrestling nerd. You are deep into this shit. Okay? That's why we know who these people are. Most people have no clue. Most people didn't even know that who Cody Rhodes was. Most people, I don't want to say no one, but most people didn't go see the Naked Gun reboot, rubbing their hands together and going, "Wow, Cody Rhodes in a movie." They were like, they don't know who he is. And then it's the blonde guy in the film, and they're like, "Oh, most people don't know who he is." We got to stop pretending. Roman Reigns is not a crossover star, and neither is Becky Lynch. And just because they're getting roles in productions and movies and stuff like that doesn't mean that makes them immediate superstars. Because do you know the amount of people who are in movies and stars that are still not mainstream commodities? There's so many actors and performers out there. Yeah, there you go. That's a good litmus test. Roman Reigns and Becky Lynch aren't hosting Saturday Night Live. That's an excellent litmus test. That's a good one. He's basically only known for wrestling Roman. Correct. True. True. People say AEW is niche, brother. K-pop, Taylor Swift, and any unfunny comedian, etc. Each of them lap WWE. Except Andrew Schultz. He's really bad. He's not funny. He is extremely not funny. I think I had the Bert Kreischer rant here not too long ago. Didn't I have the Bert Kreischer rant here? Or was it on the Beards? I don't remember. I don't understand why people think Bert Kreischer's funny. That's the guy who takes off his shirt, you know. He's got a big old gut. He's got a big old dad bod. And he takes off his shirt and he tells jokes. Well, jokes with his shirt off. And people think he's funny. I don't think he's funny. I don't think he's funny. And I don't think he's funny. And I think he knows he's not funny. Because from what I understand, he's looking to become an OnlyFans manager. He wants to manage OnlyFans girls. That's a sign of a healthy career in comedy. When you have to turn your attention away from what you want to do and become a pimp. I remember Andrew Schultz from that Guy Code show on MTV 15 years ago, so it's weird to see his prominence now. I have no memory of this guy before he started doing the comedy podcasting and then turning to politics. And now that, now that the administration is turning out to be real shitty, now he's like, oh no, I didn't have any hand in that, whatever the fuck. I don't like that guy at all. I don't think I like, you could have fooled me. Oh, he's a comedian. Really? I don't know. That guy is extremely not funny. Lenny Kravitz is at the fucking Game Awards. Jesus Christ. Lenny Kravitz is at the Game Awards because he's going to be in the next James Bond game. Fucking Lenny Kravitz, and he looks the same. The man hasn't aged. Anyway. The fit audience have them believing they are watching Universal Stars. Of course. And they're very good at making their audience believe that, and their audience does believe it. But no one knows who Jey Uso is. You know what I mean? The idea of Bert Kreischer is funny. The reality, eh. That's funny. All right. Oh my God. Are we already? All right. 2 last things. We'll try and speed it up. We'll keep this maybe for the Monday stream. Maybe there'll be more information there. Yeah, because we got to wrap this up. Look, can we stop making fucking news out of every fucking press release that WWE sends out? Right? Like, I've seen this on a couple of websites where I'm like, well, of course, this, NoDQ.com is going to talk about this because, whatever. But the Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online, come on, man. And Josh, our boy Josh Nason, Josh, come on, man. Like, come on, man. You can't have been pressured that bad to have been required to make an article out of this, to make an article out of a sponsorship deal that WWE has made with Ram Trucks. They are now like the official truck of TKO, WWE, UFC, integrated within major live events and premiere content across all 3 brands. Who cares? Like, why are we making news out of this? Why? And on the Observer, come on, guys, have a little self-respect. They should be paying you for this type of advertisement. And I know, Dave, Brian, I know your subscriptions are down because you keep sending out emails offering months for free and deep discounts to get people on it, to get people to subscribe, to resubscribe. I know. So instead of giving your space for free to WWE with this kind of bullshit, have them pay for the content online. What are we doing? There's no news in this. This is not interesting. This is not interesting in the least. Every fucking press release they put out. The official truck partner of WWE. Oh my God. Ram will maintain a significant presence on SmackDown and various PLEs like WrestleMania and SummerSlam. Jesus Christ, Josh. Why did you write this? This is awful. This is bad. I don't have more to say than this. But this is a fucking press release. And you don't, about a sponsorship. You don't have to relay this information like it's news. It's not news. WWE getting a sponsorship is not news. I'm sorry if I'm sorry if you felt dirty listening to that. I apologize. Oh, did I say Josh? I mean Jason. I'm so confused. See, I'm so messed up. Why did I say? No, it's Josh. What are you do? What are you trying to do? What are you doing here? Trying to confuse me. Anyway, last bit. There are reports now circulating that Masha Slamovich is no longer on the TNA roster. Promotion will touch base with her in 2026. Let's read this off of the postwrestling.com. Jack, again, is it Wanan? Masha Slamovich has reportedly parted ways with TNA Wrestling. Slamovich has been largely out of the spotlight since it was alleged in September that she had physically and mentally abused her former partner and fellow professional wrestler, Akira. A large photo album released by a friend of Akira's showed the wrestler's conversations with and about Slamovich, including a mention of getting, quote-unquote, hit by the then TNA wrestler. The photo album also included photos of bruises on Akira's body. Slamovich later released a statement claiming that she was in a mutually destructive relationship and said that she took responsibility for her actions. At the time of the allegation surfacing, TNA said in a statement that they started an internal investigation regarding the matter. Slamovich hasn't appeared on the promotion's shows in months. This is John Alba basically saying everything that we just talked about here. After Slamovich was removed from TNA's roster page recently, Sports Illustrated's John Alba reported this week that she is, quote, not currently with the company, unquote. However, he noted that the promotion, quote, plans to touch base with her and regroup in 2026, unquote. Fightful Select noted that Slamovich's contract with the company expired earlier this year. Look, you know, this sounds more like a suspension than a firing. I know Fightful Sean Rossap basically said that, well, you know, her contract expired earlier this year, so maybe they decided to not renew it. But the fact that they are going to touch base, they're just letting, they being TNA, they're just letting they're letting this pass, right? They're just letting the smoke clear, and they'll talk with her again. You know, we'll never. I remember talking about this at the time that the allegations came out, when all of this shit was leaked on that, you know, on that private Discord. All of the things that I had said that you know TNA doing the internal investigation will not amount to anything that will convince us as to whether or not Masha is guilty or not. You know, it's going to end up, you know, because since it's an internal investigation, they are not beholden to give us any transparency. They're not beholden to give us any clear, any clear indications as to what's going on, what the results were, what the investigation found. They're basically just going to come back and say, you know, well, we conducted our investigation and Masha Slamovich will no longer be with TNA or will remain with TNA, and that'll be the end of it. So, yeah, she'll be back by Mania weekend. I agree. That's a really good prediction, actually. She'll be back doing her thing. Regardless, right? And we will not know what happened. No one will know. No one will know what the results of the investigation will be. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. She'll be fine. This is all theater. It's all theater. Oh, well, she's not with the company right now, but we'll touch base with her and we'll circle back. We'll circle back to her when the time comes, and we'll get back in touch. None of this matters. None of this matters. I mean, she can hit Akira with a frying pan, and they'll be all okay with it. I always found it curious. Just, again, I'm not privy to any information, and I'm not trying to be sly. I'm not trying to drop a clue or a hint here. But it's something that has crossed my mind even before all the Akira stuff came out. Kristen can attest to this. I've kind of always wondered why a wrestler as talented as Masha is never worked for the big leagues, never worked for WWE, and seemingly was never even considered in AEW. Now, was that by choice? I couldn't tell you, but Masha is an extremely talented professional wrestler. She's very good at what she does. There are tons of people getting hired by both companies who aren't even a fraction as talented as she is. So I always question, why is that? And the only excuse or thought that comes to mind is well, there's something we don't know. There's something about Masha that probably permeates backstage, or that, where she has a reputation or whatever, but there's something we just don't know. So, maybe this was it. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. So, well, to be continued. We'll see how all this ends up going, how far this goes, etc., 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 etc. You know what? I am very confident in saying that we had a better time here tonight than watching the Gamer Awards. Best community support goes to Baldur's Gate 3. All right. I don't even know what that means. just literally just pulled it up here. Speaking of TNA, you were right. Danny Luna really ran the blade for Indy Hartwell of all people. Yeah, I had heard that rumor earlier today, because on tonight's edition of TNA, Danny Luna and Indy Hartwell had a dog collar match in their hot feud. And I sort of laughed at it. And then someone who is very informed told me, yeah, you know what? Danny Luna bled buckets in this match. She was covered in blood. I was like, wait a second. Didn't TNA pull the plug on blood? Didn't they say we don't want any more blood? And then that person told me, well, someone convinced them to turn the blood back on particular occasions, as opposed to just an outright ban. They sort of reversed the ban, but it's on very, very special occasions, right? And then that same person told me, Well, maybe once they see how much Danny has bled, maybe they'll bring the ban back. Apparently, she bled a fucking lot. And I like Danny Luna. I think I like her. I like her enough. She's good. I love her work in DPW. I wish she'd get out of the TNA orbit. I think that place is siphoning the life out of her, especially when the finish of a fucking dog collar match ends with a ref bump. How does that make any sense? How do you finish a dog collar match with a ref bump? Jesus fucking Christ. Just an insane promotion. I hate them so much. God, these decisions, the way they end their Christ almighty. And this is supposed to be like a blow off to their feud? Fuck off. It's so dumb. Will the Pearl Clutchers show up for TNA like they do with AEW? You already know the answer for that. And the answer is no. Because TNA is the second biggest promotion in the United States. It's the number 2 promotion. It's bonkers stuff. Anyway, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We're done for a couple of days. We're going to be done for a couple of days here. We'll be back Monday for another stream. Hope you're around for that. If you are one of the beneficiaries tonight of the gifted subscriptions that Santa Kristen's been dropping, well, please enjoy it. I'm afraid there won't be much early access stuff over the next couple of days, but we'll get there. We'll be getting some interesting stuff. Listen, I will be back. That's it. I already said that Monday. I already said that. Am I repeating myself? Sure. But and if it's your first time here, thank you for dropping in. I hope you enjoyed it. Consider a subscription to never miss a thing. Never miss a Mr. Warren Hayes related thing, and do the bell gimmick and all of that, and then you can feel good about yourself. Hope you all have a tremendous weekend. Enjoy the John Cena retirement. Go watch some Randy Orton and get back to me. And I will see you next time. W stream. That's right.